That's right. Virtual surround sound is fake. For that matter, so is stereo. Now, before you hit me on blast in the comments, as the kids like to say, just bear with me for a moment. In my time as a YouTube reviewer of gaming headsets and headphones, I have a playlist about 30 videos long where I've reviewed different gaming headsets. I've been a recording musician and sometimes studio engineer for 2/3 of my life, which actually works out to be 30 years. So I've had a bunch of experience trying to understand how taking recorded audio and making it and manipulating it works. There are a lot of folks out there that say that gaming headsets are snake oil, that you're paying too much, that the quality of them is subpar. And some of that might be true in some cases maybe not. Some people say that surround sound in a headset is not necessary because you can listen in stereo and still get the same experience, but with the purity of stereo. Maybe that's true as well. I mean, you can get a set of headphones that have open back, and then that creates what they call, in the cork-sniffing headphone world of audiophiles, a wider soundstage, right? Right. But it's all just different ways to skin the same cat. The question is virtual surround sound really important? Is it a thing we should care about? Or is it just a fancy way for marketing departments to milk more money out of the unknowing public? Great questions. Great questions. Thank you for asking. There are plenty of people who will, talk about strictly stereo, straight stereo, pure stereo as the only way to go. And then there are other people who really love their virtual surround sound. They got headsets and sound cards and all this other stuff. But here's the truth. Whether you're listening in stereo or you've got the fanciest digital surround sound processing that you could possibly ever hope for, once they go in here, then all of a sudden you're working with the best virtual surround sound processor ever known to man, the human brain. Let's explain a little further. You got 2 ears, right? Right. We're in agreement on that. Imagine you're on a busy city street in the middle of the day and there are cars all around you and people and planes flying overhead, and you got a fly that's trying to get to the hot dog that you just bought on the street corner, and you're trying to eat it and the fly's trying to eat it. And if you stop for a second, you would be able to discern not just the sound, but the distance that all of these things are away from you. Now, how does that work? We need to think about a couple of different sciencey principles. The first is called HRTF, which is head-related transfer function. The folks over at Wikipedia say that head-related transfer function is a response that characterizes how an ear receives a sound from a point in space. As sound strikes the person, everything here, oral cavity, nose, shape of ears, thickness of head, all that stuff affects how it gets around to here. Some frequencies are lowered, that's how we start to receive spatial relation in hearing. The next principle we need to understand is psychoacoustics. Once again, Wikipedia describes this as the study of sound perception. Hearing is not purely a mechanical experience, but it's also a sensory perception event. This works in a physical surround sound setup like your home theater because you've got multiple speakers around the room and they're shooting sounds at you from different directions, and the audio engineers who have worked on that film or that game or whatever have worked on it so that the sound design works in an algorithm to create a physical sounding space around you. So this helps to create a more realistic experience even though it's artificial. So how do surround sound headphones work? Well, we still only have 2 ears, and we have no physical space around us, so we have to figure out how to do it with just 2 ears and 2 speakers. This is where audio engineering comes in again. The sound has been mixed and edited so that you can get a spatial sense, right? Not special, but spatial sense. You can also get a pretty darn good approximation of audio directionality with just 2 microphones, only in stereo. One of the best examples of this is what's called binaural recording. So you got two microphones on either side of, usually just looks like a human dummy head, with two microphones where the ears would be, and then you put it in a room and you put things around it and then you record what's happening. The best example of this on YouTube is a recording called Virtual Barbershop. I'll put a link down in the description so you can go check it out. Basically, it's taking a recording of what our ears would hear, and then somehow our brain helps us decode it. The key is this: our brains want to hear in surround. Virtual surround sound is just one way that we've figured out to do it. Binaural recording is another. Stereo recording also creates a sense of directionality. What's happening is really just a process of trying to convince our brain that there is space around our head where things are happening. So if you're a footstep whore in a first-person shooter game, digital sound processing, whether it's a virtual surround sound or a mix that the gaming company provides for you and you're only listening in stereo, you'll still get that same effect of somebody back here if they're back here. You'll still get the same effect of, bombs going off in the distance. The most important thing to remember here is that they're all basically attempting to do the same thing. The argument that virtual surround sound is better or worse than stereo is really missing the point entirely. There are so many links in the chain that you can choose to affect how you experience this phenomenon. Companies want you to believe that digital sound processing, virtual surround sound, DTS, Dolby, whatever it is the end-all be-all of all experiences, and they're going to charge you for that because they themselves have spent money on the licenses to these companies with these algorithms. And those of you who think that stereo is really the purest and most awesome way to go are also missing the point. The most important thing to learn from this video is that whether you like virtual surround sound or whether you like stereo, forget about it being better or worse, and instead just different ways to reach the same conclusion. You've got to know what you're talking about. This is a different kind of video for me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe let me know somehow down in the comments or with a like, or subscribe if you want to find out more about me and all the things that happen on this channel. Thanks for being here. My name is Jason. Sometimes I'm known as the JTL. And until the next time, I'm out.